Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the F1 Evolution channel. The Dutch GP was straight fire, keeping us glued to the end of our seats. But in the end, Wonderboy Max Verstappen came out on top yet again, securing his 10th win of the season in front of a sea of orange at Zandvoort. That dude is an absolute machine. Meanwhile, it was a weekend to forget for Mercedes. Lewis went from P13 to plummet to dead last after the start, while George lost a bunch of places from P3 and ended up retiring right before the finish after a tangle with Lando. Yikes. This race summed up Merc's utterly painful season so far, as they continue to get dunked on by Red Bull week after week. Toto probably cried into his spreadsheets after this one. So after yet another agonizing weekend, one question remains. Is there any chance of Mercedes making it out of this misery? Well, strap on folks, cause we're going full detective mode on the troubles of the Silver Arrows. Before the race even started, Mercedes showed some questionable judgment, not immediately pitting for wets when it started drizzling. Both Lewis and George paid the price, along with McLaren and Williams, for underestimating how heavy the rain would get. They looked more lost than my dad trying to use Instagram filters. Amateur hour stuff. After the race, Toto absolutely unleashed, fully admitting Mercedes royally screwed up the pooch. In his own words, "I think we stayed out catastrophically too long. We got it completely wrong." Toto was clearly fuming because they had solid race pace but couldn't make the most of it. They missed a chance for George to get a banging result on the podium. Lewis also thought that he could take the fight to Max, who casually cruised to his third Dutch GP win in a row. Max probably could have taken a nap mid-race and still won. After the initial blunder, their only choice was to salvage whatever points they could. Near the end, George matched Max's pace on the Inters, and Lewis was hunting down Carlos Sainz's Ferrari. This shows Mercedes likely could have grabbed a way better result if their strategy didn't snooze on the job early on. Despite the painful L, Toto found some positives in their improved performance, saying, "I'd rather have good pace, a fast race car, and a mediocre result even if it hurts." Mercedes now sits 40 points clear of Aston Martin in the standings after gaining 11 points on them. But their spot is still vulnerable heading to Monza. Alright folks, time to spit some facts. Let's keep it a buck. It's been over a year since Mercedes biffed the concept. Heck, they even started 2022 with the wrong idea. Even if they had a car close to the Red Bull's level, no way they're beating Max and Checo. Mercedes' issues are way deeper than just the car itself. Their race strategy has been straight clowning all season. The pit crew is consistently slower, and they're happy with 3-second stops, while Red Bull is crushing 2-second and even sub-2-second stops. Just imagine if Lewis pulled a Checo and pitted lap 1. Easy podium right there. But they kept him on mediums in damp conditions, which is just silly. Toto's strategy calls have been so confusing, it's like he let Michael Scott from The Office plan them. Even the most die-hard Mercedes stands are losing their patience, with some fully saying Toto should bounce. No doubt he's pulled off something insane with 7 straight championships, but was it all him? I haven't seen a team carried by one guy this hard since LeBron's first stint with the Cavs. Let's keep it real. They lobbied crazy hard for rule changes specifically designed to restrict rival teams from catching up. Kinda sus if you ask me. It was shadier than the fake meat at Subway. So the big question, can Toto bring Mercedes back to dominance? If he somehow pulls that off next year, dang, he'd shut up the haters real quick. Compare that to Christian Horner, who built Red Bull from nothing to glory years to still elite. Major props to him. That man could sell ice to an Eskimo. And let's be fully honest, the foundation was laid by Brawn and Schumacher before Toto slid in to replace Brawn once it was obvious Mercedes would clap everyone. My guy kept the success going, but he didn't build it from the ground up. And with that crazy budget advantage, even the Dallas Cowboys could dominate F1 with Mercedes' cash. Funniest part is, Toto himself said one of his top engineers told him he's a good boss because his impact balances out as many good calls as bad ones. Could you imagine Ross Brawn or Christian Horner batting .500 on big decisions? Fat chance. If I worked at that success rate, I'd be kicked off YouTube years ago. During their years of ruling F1, it's spicy to note Mercedes pushed hard for specific regs designed to stop other teams from catching up to them. Kinda suspicious. They protected their dominance more than I got the last slice of pizza. So what's the verdict? Can Toto lead the comeback? If he somehow pulls that off next season, dang, he'd silence the haters real quick. But after 2 years stuck in no man's land, accepting that era of dominance is over seems inevitable. The glory days have shut down, despite what the copium addicts may claim. People say the GOAT status wasn't because of Toto. They praise Ross Brawn for building the squad before selling it to Mercedes. And don't forget Niki Lauda's influence too. Toto just rolled in later once it was obvious that Mercedes would clap everyone and replaced Brawn. He kept success going, but he didn't build it from scratch. With that crazy budget, I could keep them winning. Next season will be real telling if they can actually make progress with the new regs, but personally, I gotta plead the fifth. Their strategy is just too lacking. Remember, Perez was crushing Lewis's time on inters before he'd even hit the pits, yet they still kept him out another lap. Make it make sense. By the time slicks were right, others would pit for inters, build a gap, and then go to slicks while staying P1. Mind-boggling lack of urgency. This isn't some new problem either. Mercedes' strategy has been suspect for years. Pre-2021, they just relied on that engine power to make up for mistakes. Now, with the resets, they need Galaxy Brain 200 IQ strategy, but it's just not there. People criticize Ferrari's strategy, but Mercedes aren't much better. They're like two drunk dudes stumbling around in the dark looking for answers. Unless there are big shakeups, their next best shot is probably the 2026 reset. Question is, if Lewis sticks around to have a chance at that 8th title with Mercedes, are we witnessing the downfall of the Silver Arrow's empire? Let me know what you think in the comments. Alright guys, that's a wrap on the Dutch GP. Make sure to like and subscribe for more F1 content, and we'll see you at the next race.